What's up, gamers? Lightfall has been out a few weeks now, and the new subclass Strand released with it. Having had time to play around with Strand now, I have come to realise really quickly that being swarmed with ads and champions is never an issue when running this hunter build that I have for you today. Now, if you like these build videos, subscribing to this channel will be really appreciated. I would also like to shout out my Discord, which has a community builds channel for you to share the builds you've been using. Link in the descriptions below. Now let's get into the build. To kick the build off, I will be showing you what exotic you want to use, which is the 6th Coyote, because it synergizes really well with the subclass setup. This exotic chest piece gives you an extra dodge, which is tied to your class ability, so pairing this with the aspect Ensnaring Slam gives you the ability to activate your air move and consume your class ability, aka a dodge. You will dive to the ground and suspend targets around you. Now, one thing that is important to remember is suspend stuns unstoppable champions, and will also take overloads and anti-barriers out of the fight. This then moves us on to 2 fragments you want to run for this. Thread of Mind, defeating suspended targets grant your class ability, and Thread of Continuity. Suspend, unravel and sever effects have an increased duration. Now we move on to the mods and the rest of the subclass setup. On the helmet you want to throw on Ashes to Assets. This mod works well with the grapple, which takes the place of your grenade. Now, grappling towards a target and hitting the melee will work with this mod to gain super energy. To finish out the mods on the helmet, you should throw on a Cypher mod to create orbs. For your arms, you want to use the mods Firepower, which creates orbs on grenade kills, and Heavy Handed, which creates orbs on melee kills. The reason for these mods is they both work with the grapple melee combo we just explained, and they create orbs of power. This brings us to our last 2 fragments. Thread of Warding, which grants Woven Mail, which is a 60% damage resist when picking up an orb, and Thread of Generation to generate grenade energy for your grapple when dealing damage. On the chest, you can either run double charged up, or resist mods if you think you need them. Moving on to the boots, you want to run a recuperation which will give you some health back when picking up an orb. Then, to close out the boots, 2 surge mods to match the weapons you are using to give you a nice damage boost. Finally, the class item. 1 time dilation to make your armor charges have a longer duration, and finally, the mod Reaper. After using your class ability, your next weapon kill will create an orb. Now, none of my builds rely on any artifact mods, but there are a few that are worth mentioning. First one being Volatile Flow. It has been really hard to get me off void weapons this season, plain and simply because of this mod. The others tie into whether you are using strand weapons, which are Untangler, Allied Unraveling, Counterweave, and Threaded Blast. This now concludes the build, and a dim loadout link is linked in the description below if you would rather just use that to put the build together, and will also be included in my builds channel in my Discord. For now, go enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next one, gamers.